dentist. So, some of you may remember a speech that Nathan gave late last year. He was talking about when you meet people, the importance or not of talking about what you do for a living. It made me think of something I hadn't thought in a long time, and that was many years ago. There's a lot of people that I met that thought I was a dentist. I've never been a dentist. So you may be wondering why people thought I was a dentist. Because I told them I was a dentist. Now this was not, you may be thinking this was some kind of nefarious plot to build myself up or look into people's mouths. But at that time I was a trader at the Board of Trade. The reason this came up was I would go to parties, for example. I'd meet people and they'd ask me what I did, and I'd tell them I was a trader at the Board of Trade. All of a sudden they're starting to bombard me with questions. What's it like on the trading floor? What's it like in all that craziness? Mark, what's it like with all that money changing hands? They'd say, Mark, give me a hot tip. Mark, what's a good investment? And those questions were fine as far as that went, but the problem was, once they found out I was a trader, that's all they wanted to talk about. They really didn't seem to care about me as a person. They were only interested, I could have been anybody. I was just a trader to them. And these people would follow me around at parties, literally follow me around, ask me more questions about trading. You know, they interrupt me, I'm trying to talk to somebody else. So this, I didn't like this, it made me very uncomfortable. And so I'm thinking to myself, I've got to, how do I get out of this? This is not what I want. I want to talk to people, have deeper conversations with people, not just about trading. About that time, there was a movie that had been out for a while that starred Dudley Moore and Liza Minnelli. The movie was called Arthur. Has anyone seen Arthur? It's a really funny movie if you haven't seen it. Dudley Moore plays, he's a very spoiled, he comes from a very rich family. He's spoiled, he's very immature, he's in his 30s, he's an alcoholic, but really he's a pretty good guy. And he gets tired, in the movie he's getting ready to inherit $500 million from the family. But he gets very tired of living this very upper crust, those high-class problems, very upper crust, and trying to live up to the expectations of the stature that his family has. He gets very tired of that, and so for him to go have some fun, he'll go to just a dive bar, or he'll go to some greasy spoon restaurant. And when he gets there, he doesn't tell him he's a near billionaire. He tells him he's a dentist. Because he tells him he's a dentist, he ends up having really meaningful, deep conversations with the people at the greasy spoon diner or the dive bar, because they don't realize he's a billionaire. And I thought that's pretty cool. And I thought I'm going to try that. So from then on, I'd go to a party and people asked me what I did for a living. I'd tell them I was a dentist. And much to my amazement, that was pretty much the end of that conversation. They didn't care that I was a dentist. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool. But it made me realize really a bigger problem. And that was, if I'm not going to talk about what I do for a living, what am I going to talk about? I mean, do you ever have that problem? You go to a party and you don't know what you're going to talk about with somebody you meet. So I started thinking about that. What am I going to talk about? Because I want to have this deeper connection with people. And I thought about my granddad. And I've never in my life met anyone like my grandfather. He loved people. He loved meeting people. He'd go out of his way to meet people. When he met you, and my granddad, he was about my size. What I remember about him, but as long as I can remember my granddad, he was bald. He just had a little bit of hair around the side, but he was just an average guy. He was when my dad was growing up. My granddad was a farmer, and when I was growing up, he drove a fuel oil delivery truck. He delivered heating oil to people's homes, and he went out his way to meet people. And he would ask you questions. He would ask all kinds of things about you. He'd ask where are you from, where are you going, why are you going there, and he would just draw people in. It would just amaze me how he could just connect with people. And I saw him do this so many times. I got to that point where I saw that he was meeting somebody new, and I would just stand back in awe and I'd watch my granddad as he engaged with this person, just draw this person in. It was magical the way he could just connect with people. when my granddad died, just an average guy, people said that it was the largest funeral they'd ever seen in my hometown. It's not my goal in life to have the biggest funeral, but I want to have that connection with people that my granddad had. He had that transformation of meeting people, just drawing people in. And I learned from my granddad how to talk to people, how to ask questions, how to draw people in. You know, some of you might remember that the poet Maya Angelou died last year. One of her famous sayings was, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but you'll never forget how that person made you feel." And that's how my granddad was. People didn't forget how he made me feel. So why not, in this new year, make it a goal of becoming more engaged with more people? And how do you do that? And how you do that is you become genuinely interested and curious about that other person. Second thing is ask questions. Just ask questions about that other people. And the third thing is talk about them. Talk about that other person. And if you follow those three techniques, you're going to have not only deeper conversations with people, but you'll also make new, truer friends. And best of all, you won't have to tell people that you're a dentist. So,